Never make it easier to numb out all the pain. Not like anything was wrong, it never made it right. You're the one to come on strong, so why am I all alone? Here we go again, the same old thing. Smiling through a bleeding heart, I'll fake it till I break apart. What's it gonna take to look away? Man, some days I hate this town. You never fail to let me down. Better stay away before I break now.
Time to kill some horde. Yeah, this is a late stream for me. But my wife got home late, so I won't even bother to go into that nonsense because because that's what it is. Nonsense. It was pretty shitty. Why are we not? The blood is the life. Why does it say there's a quest? Ooh. It says it. I don't know. Why does it say there's a quest here, but I don't see it? Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. The noble gyro. Oh, gyro, yeah. Sometimes I tell you what, lamb meat can be vicious if it's old or not properly prepared. The gyro. Oh, this guy did a quest right next to me, and how did I miss that?
Well met.
The blood is the life.
What's it gonna take before I break? Man, some days I hate this town. You never fail to let me down. Better
Where's my other vanish at? I think I got rid of it, didn't I? But I liked it. Hold on a second.
from a meltdown.
Oh no, it's there. Let me see if I can fix. I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's just duplicate this group. Duplicate. It's like some of the worst. 14, 185.
It's more or less a sign of age, drawing lines, blue recede to vacant gray. How much time? It's more or less the same, holding, wanting.
Do I already have a rogue preparation? Rogue. Oh, I do. Oh, and I called it rogue. Oh, interesting. Kind of hard to do with a group versus this. It's actually really difficult. We'll make it work. Oh yes. We'll make it work. Didn't I have the add-on for this shit? What is it? The looking for group add-on or whatever it was? Yeah. Here we go. Holy crap, there's a lot of groups. Alright, Hellfire Ramparts. Normal.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You can kiss your ass goodbye.
I don't think so. Just practicing some of the rotations, some of the abilities.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
Looks like we'll be leveling by ourselves as usual. So that I linked a video in the WoW Discord channel under the WoW chat section in the WoW section, and for an interview with Jeff Kaplan. It's actually a fantastic interview.
Talk to me. Glad I could help. Keep it real.
Yeah, it's good.
Silver wires across the skyline. Signals fade, but you're still on my mind. I trace the static in the dark, like constellations falling.
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
I don't wanna lose the sound, but the silence pulls me down. We're silent echoes, drifting where the light goes. Caught in currents we can't control. Fading voices
You were screwed.
but I can still feel. Empty streets glow like confession. Every shadow holds a question. I try to speak, but nothing lands. Words dissolve like grains of sand. I don't wanna lose the sound, but the silence pulls me down. We're silent echoes, drifting where the light goes. Caught in currents we can't stars forget my name, would you call me back again? If the night erases time, would you still be on the
You can kiss your ass goodbye. can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed. You can kiss your ass goodbye.
Guess this page really wants to get this done quick. He's just trying to pull everything.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
Yeah, that maze is crazy, man. Do I have no healing potions? Not a lot, apparently. Oh, cheat death! No! That is the first time my cheat death has ever procced. That is the first time cheat death's ever procced on this character. Yeah, that mage just had a death wish. But he got the quest done. But man, he was just trying to get himself killed or something. Just figured I'd help this guy out.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
These guys love me. All right, let's go this way.
kiss your ass goodbye.
Kept in the dark. Am I so useless? Mouth folded shut. And I'm feeling restless.
Valsa, you there, man? You get all quiet.
All the seams erupt, tearing from the inside, jagged little
You still feeling shitty? That was a nice fucking shitty. Just feel ill. Wow, that sucks, man. Well, drink a lot of fluids, drink a lot of water, get some sleep. Whenever I've had food poisoning, the only thing that really helps is just drink a lot of fluids and just rest and let your body do its thing. Just takes time.
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
burning from the inside. All the hype was bought, senses wearing down, finding empty stares. Couldn't turn it all around, lit the fuses, see the world drift by like shadows in the night.
can kiss your ass goodbye.
What's new with me? Oh man, just the crappy stuff my wife's going through. I mean, just really bad stuff. You know, her dad basically physically like pushed her out of his house today. Like physically kind of shoved her out the door. Not in a nice way. She about called the cops on him actually. So it's just, which, you know, it's not surprising. He's mad that she left and stopped helping out with his wife, her mom, but that's because he wouldn't do anything. Like, she was trying to work her job Monday through Friday, and he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, which was to like help change her and help feed her, help give her medication. He was supposed to do that. He agreed to do it. He wasn't doing anything. So my wife's trying to do all that while she's trying to do her job, and she was so worried she was going to lose her job. The stress was killing her, because my wife has medical conditions, so she can't be under that kind of stress. So she just said, look, you know, I've told you time and time again that if you don't help, I'll have to leave. She warned him over and over and over again, and he just kept not. He basically would sit around and drink beer. No joke. The guy would sit around and drink beer and watch TV. And then feign like complete ignorance as to why she left. And then finally she said, I'm out of here. She said, I'm sorry. I'm not going to lose my job over you. You know, she's like, I hate leaving my mom, but I can't do it, you know. So she left, and now he just resents her and hates her because she left. But of course it's his fault, and she warned him like many times that she would leave if he didn't start helping out. And so now she's still going over there on the weekends, right? She just couldn't help during the weekdays because of, you know, her job. So she went over there today after work just to check in on her mom, and he was just completely rude to her. You know, just a total dick. And he said, and you know what he did? What he did, Volstays, he said, I need to talk to you. Let's go outside and talk. That's what he said to her. I need to talk to you. Let's go outside and talk. And as she was walking through the entranceway to the front door, she opened up the front door. As she was walking through the door frame, he reached up, grabbed her on her right shoulder, and shoved her out the door. Like, shoved her. Shut the door and locked it. Shoved her out the door, shut the door, and locked her out. Of course, my wife has a key to their house because she's had it forever. She just opened up the door and walked right in and said, what the fuck you doing? Anyways, it's just gotten to a point of being... And I told her, I said, hey, you want me to call him up on the phone and light him up? And threaten him? Because I said, I will. I'll call him up on the phone and tell him what's what. She goes, no, don't do that. But she's planning on going over there Sunday, and she wants me to go with her. And I'm like, it could get ugly, man. It could get ugly, man. If I go over there Sunday and if he's mean to her, because I will not stand for that. I will put him in his place. This is a big dude too. I mean, he's like 6 foot, you know, 6'3" probably. But he's old. But he's a big dude. But he's old, you know. So I don't really have much fear because he's just too fucking old. But the scary part about him, dude, is he's former military and he's got tons of weapons in that house. I mean, lots of guns. Not just a few guns, lots of guns. The guy's got like 30 different firearms probably in that house. And they're scattered everywhere throughout the house. That's the only thing that scares me with that guy. Is if he just gets to the tipping point, pulls out a gun, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, it could be real nasty. And I don't have any guns. I used to when I was, you know, when I lived with my brother, I had guns. But when I moved out down to Florida, I let my brother have all the guns. Because I really didn't want any guns down here. But I mean, it's not like I'm going to go over there with a gun. You know, that would be stupid. But it's I told my wife, I said, I don't even want you there. You know? I'm like, I go, I don't want you there. I go, I know you want to be with your mom, but he's a loose cannon. Like, the guy's, there's something wrong with him mentally. Like, and then when she said, why'd you shove me out the door? He's like, I didn't shove you out the door. And I'm like, you just fucking shoved me out the door. Like, he's weird. He's like, straight up, there's something wrong with him. Yeah, there's just he resents her for leaving, but it's just so stupid because all he had to do, all this fucking retired man had to do was take care of his wife. Valstay, that's all he had to do. Take care of his fucking wife. She's had a stroke. She's in a bed. She's bedridden. She can't even walk. You know, she can't even get up and go to the bathroom. So he has to help. And all he had to do was during the weekdays, because on the weekends my wife can pretty much do everything for his lazy ass. And he doesn't hardly have to do anything on the weekends. So all he had to do on Monday through Friday, and only during my wife's working hours, which is like 7 to 4:30, 7 a.m. to 4:30, all he had to do was change her when she needed her brief change, you know, because she pees her pants, she can't help it. She's has no control over her bowel movements right now. But he wouldn't do any of it. Dude, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do any of it. He would just sit there and drink beer, and my wife would come out and say stuff like, "Hey, she needs to be changed." And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in there in a minute." And then she'd go back to work, and she'd come back out there 20 minutes later, and he's still sitting there watching TV. The fucker's still sitting there watching TV, drinking beer. 20 minutes later. You know? And my wife just finally, she dealt with this for like 2 months. It wasn't like she didn't give him time.
Kiss your ass goodbye.
She dealt with that shit for like 2 months. And finally, I told her, I said, "You gotta leave." I told her. I pushed so hard. I said, "You gotta go." I said, "The only thing that's gonna get this motherfucker to do anything is if you just leave and make him do it. Because there's no one else who's gonna do it for him if you leave, right?" And I told her that. I said, "Just leave." I said, "This is ridiculous." She kept hanging on because she knows if she leaves, he's not going to do it. And her mom's going to be sitting there in her own piss, basically. So that's what's been happening. He's not been taking care. I mean, he's changing her, but not enough. He's feeding her, but not enough. And so my wife's freaking out. It's just it's a terrible situation. Terrible situation. And this bastard, right? Any like goodwill he had towards his daughter, my wife, which is his daughter, any goodwill he had towards her is long gone, right? She said, "Man," she goes, "if you ever have a stroke or in need of care," she's like, "Too fucking bad." She's like, "I ain't coming over to do shit for you." And I said, "No," you know what I mean? These guys are a bitch. Yeah, I know, right? My family's I don't think there are functional families, but my family's fairly. I don't want to say my family's functional because it's not. Like my brother's is a nut job. Like he's a nut job. My oldest brother was a drug addict, and he was in prison several times, but just for drugs, for selling drugs and just being an idiot and doing drugs basically. So he was in and out of prison a few times. He died when he was in his late in his 40s. I don't remember exactly how old he was when he died, but he died because of a liver problem. His liver gave out on him, and that was because of drinking and drugs. I'm assuming. And I always thought he was kind of a black sheep, because my sister is a perfectly normal, well-adjusted person, just like me, I think. Although I've had my issues too, but my mom's really great. I have a great mother. My mom's fantastic, right? She's still alive. She just turned 90 a few months ago. But my older brother, my next brother, like the one who's the second oldest brother, he's a prepper, He's a prepper, man. This guy has, he's like Donald Trump, like hardcore, beyond hardcore Donald Trump fan, like
You can
insane,
kiss your ass goodbye.
like scary. No, I don't have a problem with preppers, but I mean, my brother's a little bit cracked, you know what I mean? And I only say that because he's inconsistent. Like, he'll be nice to you one day, and then the next day say you're the biggest piece of shit on the planet Earth. So it's a little like like my brother doesn't like me. Like I don't have any relationship with that brother, right? Like at all. And it's weird because he came to my stream a few years ago. Would come to my stream and talk to me on stream, and he seemed like okay, like maybe he wanted to kind of reconcile because we'd gone through a period where we just weren't getting along.
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
And he came to my stream, started watching my streams and talking to me, and I didn't really know what he was trying to do. I didn't know if he was trying to reconcile and be friendly again. And then he disappeared. I never heard from him. And then the next time I heard from him was just probably some email saying that I'm a loser and a slime and he hates me, that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So yeah. So my mother and my sister, or my other brother died in a fire, right? My other brother died in a fire. He died in a fire when he was like in his late 30s, which is horrible, obviously. My father died a long time ago of a stroke, right? My father died when I was like 28. I might have been 30. I was somewhere around 30 when my father died.
You were screwed.
See, yeah, I don't think my father is more Dale Gribbles. I don't know who Dale Gribbles is, but if you get rid of like my oldest two brothers, my family's actually it's pretty good, pretty normal. Like my mom's great. My other brother who died in the fire was great, fantastic, great person. So basically, we had my brother and my sister were great, but then my oldest two brothers were just turned out to be a little bit crazy. Although my oldest brother, the one who was in and out of prison, and just because he was kind of a drug addict, was a super nice guy. The guy was great. He's amazing, like probably the best artist I know. He's a phenomenal artist, dropout from the Art Scene of Chicago. Phenomenal artist, like just unbelievable. He was like Salvador Dali, he could just paint, he could draw, he was like, he could sculpt, he could airbrush. I mean, pretty much any type of art medium he could do. And he was phenomenal at pretty much all of it. He sold his works of art all the time for money. That's how he made most of his money for drugs, is he just sold his artwork because it was so good, But yeah, but other than the fact that he was just a drug addict, he was actually a great person. My family has, the one thing in my family is we have really longevity in my family. Like everybody, like there's really good genes for like longevity, but my family has major addiction issues. Like everybody in my family has like these crazy addiction issues. Like my mother was addicted to smoking, but she's 90 years old. So back when she was born, everybody smoked. Back in the 40s, everybody was smoking. I always love it when people in the 40s or 50s later in life tell you, well, we didn't know it was bad for you. And my response to that is, you didn't know smoking was bad for you. I go, have you ever gone camping, right? Yeah, I'm just killing boards. Have you ever gone camping? And I'm like, have you ever like stuck your head over the fire? You're camping, you light a fire, and all the smoke comes up from the fire. You ever stick your head over the campfire and breathe in the smoke? You know what happens? I mean, you cough, right? Because it's like hurts your lungs. Well, smoke, get it? It's bad for you. That's why I always laugh when people are like, well, I didn't know smoking was bad for me. I'm like, oh my God. But they were brainwashed. Back in the 30s and 40s, they were brainwashed. All the commercial ads, all the movie stars smoked. It was cool to smoke back then, right? Everybody smoked. So, I mean, they were pretty much just brainwashed to think this is the cool thing. It's like people who drink you know, people who drink beer. I mean, drinking beer is cool, right? Well, yeah, it's not really good for you. I mean, if you just drink like one beer a day, it's probably not going to hurt you, of course, but, you know. Yeah, exactly. But I always laughed when I hear people say that, the older people say that, well, we didn't know it was bad for us. I'm like, okay. Everything's bad for you if it's not in moderation. Like, eating apples excessively is bad for you. I mean, if you ate like 10 apples a day every day, that would be bad for you. But no one would ever tell you that eating an apple is bad. But eating 10 apples a day would not be good. You know what I mean? It's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, I know. My wife loves fireflies. Do not tell my wife that. My wife is a big lover of fireflies. So if you tell her that, she will be very sad. I never seen anybody who loves fireflies more than my wife. Like, we went to up to our you know, my wife's parents' cabins are up in Tennessee. And there's tons of fireflies there. I'll say like tons. And we went down to these fields at night, right when the sun goes down, and there were so many fireflies. My wife sat there for like 2 hours just watching these fireflies. I mean, she loved it so much. You know, I couldn't get her to leave. I was like, I'd never seen anybody like fireflies that much. She just sat there and watched the thousands and thousands of fireflies. You know. So. You've not seen fireflies? Oh no, up in Tennessee, there's tons of fireflies. Whenever you get into more rural places with wood, you know, wooded areas. Yeah, but there used to be fireflies here in Florida, but now there's hardly any. And there used to be fireflies in where I grew up in Peoria, and you know, the pesticides kill them, like all the chemicals they use in the grass. Because fireflies, when they're not flying at night, they kind of go down into the grass, and all those chemicals they put in the grass, I think is killing them. Yeah, we can't tell my wife about that. That would make her really sad.
can kiss your ass goodbye.
They're gone from Canada? Wow, that's crazy. Well, like I said, there's definitely still here. I saw thousands and thousands just a few years ago up in Tennessee, so. But you know, if we ever lose the bees, then we're really screwed. Like, apparently our whole ecosystem falls apart if bees disappear. You're like, well, I'm not gonna miss. I don't think I'll miss mosquitoes too much. I'd have to look and research to see if they're actually required in the eco. I'm sure they are. I mean, pretty much almost everything is, but. Oh, that must be a Canada thing because I'm telling you, here in Florida, dude, here in Florida, there are tons of mosquitoes. We didn't lose any mosquitoes down here. There are so many mosquitoes in Florida. Yeah, I mean, animals eat the mosquitoes, but there are so many mosquitoes here. So we have tons of mosquitoes in Florida.
What's up? Hurry back! Glad I could help. Hurry back! Time is money, friend. Keep it real. Hurry back. Keep it real. Glad I could help.
You should, yeah, you should. I mean, I need to work on moving out of the USA. I would love to live somewhere else. I mean, but I'm stuck here. I got my house here. USA is not. I mean, people. It's funny. There's a lot of people who don't like the USA, but the USA is not a bad place to live, right? It's not a bad place to live. There's a lot worse places to live than the USA. But I will say that there are a lot better places to live than. I mean, I would love to live in like New Zealand, for example. I think New Zealand would be a great place to live. I mean, even probably Australia. There are certain places in Europe that I think would be pretty good. The only really big, like the biggest problem with the United States is the healthcare. The healthcare here is ridiculously expensive. Now, it's better than healthcare in Canada, apparently, from what you tell me, but the healthcare here is like, if you want to go to the doctor, it's going to cost you so much money. It's so expensive. And you have insurance. You pay for all this medical insurance, but as one YouTuber liked to say, that it's basically all the medical insurance here it gives you is a fucking coupon. I mean, the medical here is pretty good. It's not, I'm not going to say it's great, but I'll say it just depends. I mean, there's good doctors, there's bad doctors. You just got to find the good ones. You got to do your research. But there's definitely good doctors here. You just got to find them. But the other thing is, it's like the medical coverage through your work is like, it's like a coupon. It's like, oh yeah, it gives you like a discount. But like, for example, if you go to the emergency room, right? Like if you go to the emergency room right off the bat, it's going to cost you like a shit ton of money, like $500 or something. And if you stay overnight in a hospital, okay, there's another like $800, you know. So if you go to the emergency room and like have to stay overnight in the hospital like one night, you're talking easily like, you know, $2,000 bill probably. You know, it's ridiculous. Oh. Huh. Yeah, well, the other countries like Europe have way better healthcare because I don't think you pay anything. Yeah, like a lot of other countries has way better. There was actually a YouTuber that he kind of pissed me off, but he was someone who was born in the United States, lived in the United States for a long time, then moved out of the country and lived in different countries around the world. Then for whatever reason decided to move back to the US, and then he did some videos about it and was basically just bitching about the US. And he was bitching about the healthcare, which I agree with him. But the other thing he bitched about, which made me laugh my ass off, is he bitched about the fact that there's so much advertising in the United States. He's like, you can't watch a football game without there being advertisements for everything. You know, like when they kick a field goal, they're like, field goal brought to you by Twix candy bar. And I'm like, dude, that really stresses you out that there's advertisements? Like, I don't even see. And it's probably because I'm just so used to it that I don't even notice it. I'm like, who gives a shit, you know? Oh, fuck.
Kiss your ass goodbye.
This is not good. Ooh. That was my second cheat death today. He walked right over me. Yeah, but I mean, again, like any country, there's good, bad. I don't know why I stood up. That was weird. Man, leveling though in TBC as a rogue by yourself solo is slower than shit. Doesn't help that you miss so much. Like, I had to eviscerate 3 times. The first 2 eviscerates missed. Yeah, I mean, I think the USA is good. My favorite part about the USA is it's pretty hard to fuck with the USA because we have a really good military. That's my favorite part. It's pretty tough to fuck with us. I like having a big stick.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
Holy shit, it takes so much effort to kill these. Yeah, Trump, the only thing with Trump is I like the idea. I understand what he's trying to do with the terrorists, but he could have done it in a better way. You know what I mean? He could have done it in a better way. But I think Trump's doing like his own shock and awe way of system of trying to say, hey, the buck stops here. You know, we're sick of you guys screwing us over. Whether other countries are screwing us over, I have no idea, but we do import a lot of stuff from China, just like a lot of countries probably do, and I think he was getting sick of it. He's like, you know, I think he was also getting sick of the fact that so many so many companies in the United States are manufacturing and doing so much work in other countries, you know. He's like, he wants all of that stuff to come back, which is a good thing. I mean, he wants to bring manufacturing and a lot of these other types of, you know, plant-based jobs that are being done in other countries because it's cheaper. He wants to bring that back in the United States so Americans work in the U.S. and Americans can get paid and people can have jobs, you know. So, I mean, the theory is good. Trying to implement it's just not easy, right? It's not easy to do. It's very complicated. I don't really like to talk about politics too much, but I have no problem with Trump, really. I didn't like the previous administration at all. I thought they were complete fucking garbage. And Kamala Harris, oh my god. She would have been the worst thing this country's ever seen. I'm still just praying on Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's my salvation, boss. If Bitcoin can reach as high as even just like the low bull predictions, you know? Like, what are the predictions for Bitcoin for like 2030? Like, people probably talk. I mean, they used to be like just a year ago. People were saying by 2030 we're going to be at 1 million Bitcoin. You know what I mean? I think people have really tempered that now, though. Yeah, I think 1 million by 2030. I don't really see that. I mean, well, 2030, we're 2026. I mean, it could happen. I think the only thing that's really going to get it to that point is just the scarcity of it, right? Oh shit, which way is this fucker going? It feels like he's moving. I swear, every time I move, he's moving towards me. Did you see that? I went that way and he turned that way, and then I came back this way and he turned back this way. Like, you bastard. Yeah, the Clarity Act. But there is a lot of... The biggest thing that sucks with Bitcoin is Bitcoin's performing, like, what do they call it? What do they call it when an asset basically just follows the SAP? A risk asset? Yeah. But one of the benefits of Bitcoin that people like to tout is the fact that it shouldn't follow what, like, fiat does, you know, what the dollar does. Like, it shouldn't follow the stock market because Bitcoin is supposed to be a different type of asset, right? Like, nothing should really affect, theoretically, nothing should affect Bitcoin, right? You know, it's a different system. It's not like it's tied to... Like, oil prices really shouldn't affect Bitcoin because you don't need oil for the Bitcoin system to work. You know what I mean? I can see where, like, AI could affect it because people are afraid that AI could hack the blockchain, for example. You know, so I can... But it's following the stock market so closely that and it really shouldn't. But I think that's just because people have been so used to a certain type of system that they can't seem to break free from it. You know, they're so used to the way things have worked for so long. you know.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
But yeah, I mean, if we look at what Bitcoin is right now, what is it, like 69,000 or something? So yeah, 69,000. And if we look at the 5-year, right, you can see the 5-year. So in let's see, in January of 2024, it was around 40,000. And then if you look at January of 2025, it was around 104,000. So, and then now you look at January of this year, and it had dropped, you know, down to like 90,000. So 40,000 to like 100, you know, to like over 100,000, like 40,000 to around 90,000 to basically almost like 90,000. But I guess I don't know where I don't remember where the halving was, but yeah. Well, we keep seeing stuff around Bitcoin that's positive, you know, like banks, like certain people taking Bitcoin for payments. What was it? What company recently just said they're going to start accepting Bitcoin? It was like, I can't remember which company it was, but it was a big company, you know, like a McDonald's or somebody, or, you know, it was a pretty big company that just said, I think it was Starbucks. It was somebody who said that they're going to start taking Bitcoin. But anyways, you can see the halving, right? So we're still pretty early in this phase, right? So this is like, I wish we had a better image of this though. So yeah, so here, this is a little bit of a better image. So here's the first halving, 2012, second halving, 2016, 2020. This isn't accurate though, because the last halving was, yeah, so this shows still, so 2024. So April 2024. And the next one's going to be 2028. We're 2026. So, yeah, I knew it was every 4 years. But if you look at the chart, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I mean, it's pretty consistent. Bitcoin goes up about a year after the halving, then it goes down. Then about a year going into the next halving, it starts to go up, and then it continues to go up a year after. So there's like a 2-year bull market. Seems to be a year before and after the halving. Although here, the year before, it kind of went up a little bit, then it went down. But I think this might have been I think this was the COVID, which kind of changed everything. And then it went up, right? And then down, and then kind of went up again, and then up. So it followed suit here. So now we're in the year after, I think, right? Because it was April 2020. Well, it would be 2024. This chart's old too. 18. Oh wait, no, this is correct. This is 24. Because now we're in 2026. Yeah. Yeah, so April, so 2024, and after the halving we went up, and that would be up to about 2025, and now we're in the down cycle, right? We're in the bear market. So they say that we're not supposed to follow that same kind of trend, but we are following that trend. And I watched one YouTuber, one streamer, content creator, whatever, who basically felt like it's just psychological. It's like there's really no reason we should follow that trend from like an economical point of view, but it's just a psychological thing because people are so used to it working that way that they just have the fear. They don't want to, But as long as we have big people buying Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor and a few others, and as long as Bitcoin keeps its status as the blockchain never being hacked, then I think we're pretty safe. That Bitcoin should be around for a long time. But if the blockchain ever gets hacked or if it becomes not secure, then that all bets are off, I think. Retail being shaken out. Well, you can't. Again, dude, you can't put links in the stream. I keep telling you, Volst, you could not put links in a YouTube stream. So if you put a link in the YouTube stream, I don't see it. You got to put it in Discord. Do you think they want the old wheels out? Well, I don't see it in Discord, and I looked. Oh, you put it... Yeah, I don't see it in Discord. Yeah, it's not showing up in Discord either. Oh, a month ago. Oh, shit, I thought you just did it just now. I thought you did it just now. Yeah, that's weird about the old whales. Why they want the... It's possible they're trying to scare the whales into getting rid of their Bitcoin so that they can gobble it up. You know what I mean? But who knows, man? So, why does this say 2020? Oh, so I don't really understand this chart. They're saying that you're just saying the individuals are getting out of Bitcoin. The governments in 2025 changed. So in 2025, the governments acquired more Bitcoin. Funds and ETFs acquired Bitcoin, and businesses did. But you're saying individuals got, so they're getting out all the individuals. Yeah. She's saying that all the, like, what they like to call retail. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know. I'm not getting rid of my Bitcoin. I just keep buying. Yeah, retail, yeah, the retail, yeah. Not me, though. I'm not getting shaken out. The only time I've sold Bitcoin is when I bought a car or bought a house. Just to help pay for the down payment, you know what I mean? Other than that, I just keep buying, man.
You were screwed.
I still don't own a Bitcoin though. I wish I did. Let me check my Robinhood. I keep upping my weekly purchase though. My weekly DCA. It started out as like 20 bucks a week, kept going up 30, 40. Now I'm up to 70. Now I'm up to, I buy $75 every week. I still like, fuck, man. I still do not, man. I need more Bitcoin. The thing that I wanted to do is get rid of, like, I really wanted to get rid of one of my 401ks and just pull all that money out and just buy Bitcoin with it, but I would lose too much in taxes. I would be penalized way too steeply if I did that. Well, I think when I reach, I'm pretty sure when I reach 59, I can pull. I think there's a thing on one of my 401ks that if I reach 59, that I can pull some money out without the penalty. Let's see. Let me check. 59 and a half. You can withdraw your money from your 401k without the 10% early withdrawal penalty at age 59 and a half. You'll still pay normal income tax on withdrawals. Usually you pay 10% early withdrawal penalty. Oh, this is interesting. If you leave your job in the year you turn 55 or later, interesting. You may avoid. It says right here that once, yeah, it says here in the United States, apparently you have to be 59 and a half. So, dude, you know how close I am to that? Vol State, think about that. 59 and a half. I'm 56. That's only so in 3.5 years. So yeah, in 3.5 years, I will be pulling, as long as my wife will let me do it. I mean, I'll be pulling out, because I have 2 401ks right now. So depending on how Bitcoin's looking, I don't know, Bitcoin may be too high at that point for it really to make me much money though, you know what I mean?
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
What is that? Is that right before the halving? Let's see. Well, I turned 59, and it's easy because I was born in the 70s, so I turned 59 in 29. So the next halving's 28. So yeah, no, I turned 15 and a half like a year and a half after the halving. Right? It'd be 20, it'd be 2029. It'd be like, let's see, what would January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It'd be like August of 2029 is when I would probably be able to pull out of my 401k without a penalty. So. Right, you said you wanted to use AI. Oh. Oh, I see Chris posted something on Discord. He said caffeine injection. Remember how you said you wanted to use AI to make an MMO? Yeah, I do want to use AI to make an MMO. And he said right here, there's a GitHub project currently, which is an AI pipeline that turns a sentence into a playable Godot 4 game engine. That's pretty cool. I'll have to take a look at it. Interesting. I would not want to use the Godot engine for my MMO, but I have not looked at Godot 4 because last one I looked at was Godot 3. So yeah, of course it's cloud blah 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 Claude code though. Claude is what I want what I want to use. Yeah, Claude code is good. It's like really strong. So it won't be long. I mean, literally within a couple years, I could probably create my own MMO that's better than most of the ones that are out right now. Which is just AI. I'm not even kidding. Like if I was like retired, right? Like let's say in like 2 years from now I was completely retired. I could probably spend all my waking time working on an MMO and probably make something that's really good with AI. It might take me like, a couple years, but I bet you I could.
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
Let's try Goro.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed.
Let's take a look at that link. Yeah, I've been... Yeah, I've been thinking about looking at creating an MMO with, and with AI, and it's something I even have been kind of playing around with, but I need to use Claude Code. Claude Code is the way to go. This is pretty interesting. Let's take a look. So this is a GitHub project where they're using Cloud Code to help generate an MMO for the Godot gaming engine. I'm not really sure what this is demonstrating though. What did he say this was? Like ray traced? Type of sentence, get a playable game, no human in the loop. Top-down racing game with a stylized topographic. Okay. This is what they typed in. They typed in that prompt and it created this. Generate serene riverbank nature scene. It's not great, but I mean, it's not bad. I mean, the tree looks like it's wilting from heat or something. It looks very weird. And I still think this is what they call vibe coding. If you guys aren't familiar, vibe coding is when you basically take AI and you basically give it a prompt and let AI do everything, right? You like let the AI generate all the code. That's not the best way to use AI right now, because AI just isn't good enough right now to create like 100% like error-free code or even like good code. You have to have a very good understanding of coding, so that you can look at the code that AI is generating and see where the flaws are. I have enough experience with programming that I'm pretty good at seeing, being able to figure out. Plus, a lot of it comes down to being able to prompt the AI in a way that it's going to generate what you need. And that comes from experience of using AI, but also comes from experiencing being a programmer, right? So I have the experience of being a programmer, and I've done it, and I've used AI long enough now. I've been using it for 2 or 3 years now, I think. I can't remember when I got my ChatGPT sub, but it's at least 2 years, and so I'm pretty good at it. But yeah, I mean, I was actually querying ChatGPT here, and I think I'm sure I saved it, and I was quite pleasantly surprised by the response it gave me. Let's see if I can find it. I know I would not have deleted it. Let's see. I mean, I wouldn't have deleted it, but I'm not seeing my conversation. Oh, here we go. I did find it. So one of the things that I want to do with AI, like, and you can see here, I just opened up with a pretty basic. Hold on, let me put some background music that we can listen to while we talk about this. That isn't going to be like incredibly annoying. And there's a good one we can always use, just Skyrim atmospheres, right? Always a good track. Okay, so here's the prompt that I gave ChatGPT. Now I really want to try cloud code. Now this is Moonlit Chat. Cloud code's a little confusing. How do I use cloud? Because it seems like there's multiple versions of cloud. Like even when I Googled it, I got a link to ChatGPT, which is really weird. So here's code.cloud.com. So this should be the correct one. And this talks about how to install it. Getting started. Let's go ahead and install this. Getting started. Cloud subscription. We don't have a subscription for it yet. I do want to use Visual Studio Code for it, and I think I've already installed. Let's see. Give me a second here. You can see in my Visual Studio we've already installed the extension. Let's restart the extension. But that's something for another time. We're not going to look at that just yet. Choose your environment to get started. Most servers require cloud subscription, which I don't have currently. VS Code, we've got that. How do I, you know what I want to do though is, can I sample via a, I want to see like if they have like a,
All right, we're all ready. write things for you. That's what most people know. Claude Code is different. Think of regular Claude as some both in a minute. Here, let me show you.
As you can see, I actually already started watching these videos. So he's going to go through installing it via the command line. So I'm not going to mess with this right now. I need to set up Cloud Code, and we're going to do that because I think for what I'm trying to do with programming, it's going to be the best. But oh yes, but I created a prompt that I'd asked ChatGPT a while ago. Like this was probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I said I want to create a video game prototype in Unreal Engine 5. The goal of the prototype is to create a small video game slice of a fully 3D world that replicates the art style and, more importantly, the combat style. I really didn't care about the art style. That's surprising I put that in there. But more importantly, the combat style of the video game Terra. So really this prompt, the reason I did this prompt is I really was curious what it was going to tell me needed to be done to kind of look at Unreal Engine 5 and create. Yeah, what's up, Chris? Yeah, I was streaming. But I was doing this prompt a few weeks back, Chris, and I said, I want to create a video game prototype in Unreal Engine 5. The goal of the prototype is to create a small video game slice of a fully 3D world that replicates the art style and, more importantly, the combat style of the video game Terra. Because I'm a big fan of the combat in Terra, and I think that, to me, the combat system in Terra is a great starting point for a combat system in an MMO because it's very impactful. It's got fantastic hitboxes. And it's just really good, I mean, I don't think there's too many people who've played Terra who think that Terra's got a bad combat system for an MMO. It's just a really solid combat system. And so anyways, I was curious at what it was going to say, and I said, which was an MMORPG made by Blue Hole Studios. Can you help me? And it said, yes. And if you aim at Terra's feel, the key is to prototype combat first, not the world, which is very true. Below is a practical plan for your UE5 vertical slice that gets you closest to Terra's combat. Animation-locked attacks. So we do have animation-locked attacks, but you can cancel out of some of those. Directional inputs, hit reactions, iframes, collision-based. The big things with the and it's nice that it broke down really the key components of Terra's combat system. Terra's combat system does have animation locks, but I think pretty much almost any MMO combat system has animation locks, right? Like to a certain degree. And I think what's interesting about animation locks is if you think about it, and again, I'm not an expert on MMO combat systems. I only know what I know from playing tons and tons and tons of MMOs. But I've never developed an MMO, and so I think it'd be really cool to get an interview with somebody who has, at a big company to get like their feedback on some of this stuff, because I have ideas why things are done in a game for a combat system, but I'm not sure if my ideas are correct or not. So when I think about animation locking for attacks in an MMO, to me it seems like there's a reason for that, and the reason for that is if you're in an MMO, and especially an MMO that has PvP, it makes it easier for other players to target you and to hit you if you're standing still for a few seconds. Like if everybody's always moving and there's no animation locking whatsoever, the game can start to feel a little bit hectic and kind of haphazard. So it's, like imagine like if you're in World of Warcraft and every time you are attacking, you're constantly moving, like always. Like what? Imagine if and that does happen, to be honest. In retail, WoW, you can play classes where you're moving, 80-90% of the time. So, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I do think animation locking, there's a reason they do that. I would love to interview a developer from a game studio who's created a combat system to kind of get the skinny on why they use animation locked attacks. Like Terra has animation locking, but the cool thing with Terra is it has animation canceling, right? And that's part of the skill of using some of these combat systems is you like, for example, Terra has the dodge roll. The dodge roll will cancel out of just about any animation. I don't think it won't cancel out of all of them, but most of them. So if in Terra, I'm playing a warrior, which is the class I play the most, and I'm doing like Righteous Fury, and I tap the button. If I tap the button and immediately hit my dodge roll, it's going to cancel out of that animation instantly, which is good, right? But directional inputs, not really sure exactly what it means by directional inputs. I'm just assuming it means that you're moving forward, like it's going to attack in the direction that you're moving. I'm assuming that's what it means. Hit reactions, which is obviously going to be it's going to be what I always like to call the stagger animations. So when you hit something, it's going to stagger, have like a stagger to it. Like if I hit an enemy, they're going to get knocked backwards a little bit, or they're going to kind of react to being hit. And then, of course, iframes, and iframes are invulnerability frames, which just means during the frames of those animations, you cannot take damage. And those are basically your dodge roll. Like when you perform like a dodge roll, you become immune. So during the animation of your dodge roll, you're in what's called an iframe animation, which is an invulnerability state. Okay. Well, yeah, we can do that, Chris, but this was a very simple prompt. And what I was looking for was how it was going to break out the combat system and what needed to be done in Unreal Engine to work on creating a similar combat system of that type. That's what I was looking for. And what ChatGPT gave me was really, really good. I was very impressed by what I got here, and I'm going to show it to you. So collision-based hit detection and snappy camera and movement, which is, I love snappy camera movement is really important for MMOs. A lot of MMOs don't have this. And what that means is, when you rotate your character, there's no delay. It's very crisp and clean. So what to build first, right? What to build first? 3 to 4 core actions. I really like how it broke this down because when you think of a combat system and you think of a lot of MMOs, some MMOs go down the route of like EverQuest where they just keep giving you tons and tons of skills to where you end up with so many skills that you got 10 action bars loaded with skills and you end up with like maybe 40 or 50 different skills. Some MMOs go a different route, right? Where you have like left click and right click does something. Like left click is like a light attack, and right click is like maybe a heavy attack. And if you left click multiple times, it's a combo, right? So like a lot of games you'll be like left click, and in some games even like Bless Online, for example, is one of the games that did this, where you could go left click, right click, and it would be like a slash with your sword. And if you did left click, right click, it would slash forward, and then the right click would maybe do like a thrust or something. And then if you did left click, right click, you would slash from the right to the left and then from the left to the right. And then the right click, you would thrust forward. And if you did a left click, right click, it would be another different combo. And it might be the similar 2 slashes I said, but the final slash might be, might be a slash straight up in the air or a big slash coming from above and down. And then the right click could be the same thing. Or it could be like something different. Like it could be like slash right to left, slash left to right, slash top down, and then the right click, do it kind of like a 360 spin and take your sword and put the pommel facing away from your body as your body's facing away from the enemy and thrust your sword backwards, into the enemy while you're looking the other way. So some MMOs will do that where they'll basically build out combos based on just left click and right click. And that's something you can do. Terra has an auto attack for every class. So if you just hold down left click, most of the Terra classes will perform auto attacks. And you can, and there are like 3 clicks to the Terra auto attack, I think. So there is if you just click it, you like swing one way, and I can kind of show you what I mean. 1 second.
Circle around.
Okay, so just to give you, here's an old video from my good friend Alkalite Rush, and he's going to kind of show you, we're going to kind of demonstrate what I was talking about with the auto attacks.
Greetings, pop pickers. I'm doing something different today and talking over this one because I want to do a general warrior guide. There's a few warrior guides around, but they seem to be aimed at people with learning difficulties who need someone to read the ability tooltips to them because the words in the description are too hard or some shite. I'm going to try and give you a guide that doesn't focus on the bleeding obvious and might actually teach you something. So without further ado, let me start with the most awesomest thing about Warriors in Terra. Boop!
He was making fun of another YouTuber who would always say boop. Movement.
You've probably seen complaints from new players, QQing, about not being able to move.
Okay, so if you look, if you look at the warrior here, he's just holding down left click and you'll see the animations, right? Not that one. That was an actual ability, right? You know, that's another ability. That's pounce. And then he goes into his left click skill, and left click skill. Left click there. And that was Righteous Fury, so that was a different ability. There, now he's going to demonstrate just the auto attack. So here he's demonstrating just auto attack. Okay, so in Terra Warrior, if you just hold left, see it does, right there you saw like this is just the 3 animations. You swing one to the right, then you swing to the left, and you know, it does this kind of like twirly animation. But it's 3 different clicks. Like if you click the mouse button 3 times, it's going to do these 3 things. They're very similar, but they're slightly different. Let's see if I can get at the beginning. Here, let's do... Okay, right there he's going to swing to the right. Then he's going to swing there, and then he's going to swing to the left. And that's basically just your auto-attacking. And what, you know... But what he's doing here is he's not holding down the button, because if you hold down the button, there's like a delay. You have like a slight delay in between the button clicks where you can actually left click, move a little bit, then left click again, and it will still consider the second left click a part of the chain. So remember, there's like, if you hold down left click it'll swing like 3 different swing animations. But if you just left click and let go and move a little bit, then left click again and let go and move a little bit, and then left click again, you'll still get the same 3 swings, but you'll have a little bit of time in between the clicks to move, and so it'll allow you to move more. Oh, you never played Terra? Terra is like one of the combat system in Terra is like, it's probably my favorite combat system. So I don't think I have an actual working Terra installed right now, unfortunately. And we can set one up, and I'll set one up this week. If we start doing more stuff about creating a sample combat system in Unreal Engine, trying to mimic Terra, then we'll definitely compare Terra to it. But I may, like I said, I want to get Cloud Code set up, because I want to use Claude to do it. I think that I'll probably use both, because I think the thing is, ChatGPT is very good with general knowledge about a lot of things that aren't programming. It's also very good at high-level stuff. I'm not sure how good Cloud Code is with high-level stuff. Cloud Code is really good for programming, for like actual coding. So keep in mind, Unreal Engine has a lot of like what it calls blueprints, which are ways that you can have a visual designer that you can kind of like say step by step, here's what I'm doing. Like I want to create a door that opens up and has this animation, and here's the pieces to this door. This is the art assets, and here's the door, and here's the animation, and here's what I'm, you know. And blueprints, you can kind of hook it up in blueprints, but then blueprints behind the scene is going to generate the C++ code for you. You didn't sit down and write the C++ code. You sat down and worked with the blueprints, created the blueprint to do what you wanted to do. It generated the code for you. So it'll be interesting to see what ChatGPT or Cloud does as far as, I don't know if it's Cloud or Claude. Claude, I'm sure. It'll be interesting to see how they direct that conversation. So back to the prompt, right? So what I thought was really interesting about ChatGPT is it said what to build first. Build a tiny arena, 1 room, which of course you don't even have to build a room, because Unreal Engine 5 pretty much does that for you. I mean, if you launch an Unreal Engine 5 third-person character, it's going to launch it into basically an empty space. Anyways, one player class. Start with something like Terra Warrior. We'll definitely go do Warrior. 3 to 4 core actions: light attack, chain, 3-hit combo. This is exactly what. So it's so smart that it actually pretty much knows kind of what Terra has for its classes. It knows that Terra's has, you know, that you have a left click with Terra classes that have like a 3-hit combo generally. It knows that you have a right click, which is like a heavy attack. Although in Terra, I don't remember if that works on Terra, because it's been so long since I played. And then you got your dodge, which is stamina-based iframe. And then you've got maybe a gap closer, right, which is optional. And then create like 1 enemy type, a simple melee mob with 2 attacks and clear telegraphs. And then we need to create, then he says work on the combat loop. Lock on optional. Terra's mostly free aim, which is what we want. We want our MMO to be free aim. We don't want any lock on bullshit. And then timing windows, hit stop, hit reactions, knockdown, stagger. This is where the key parts of a combat system. You know, you're gonna have to be able to have hit, like knockdowns, staggers, the hit reactions. I'm not sure what the timing windows are or what the hit stop is. So we'll have to, but we can get more information about that. Terra Combat Field, the non-negotiables. To replicate the vibe, prioritize these things. Most attacks should root partially. So then it goes through like kind of different stuff about that, which is cool. Use montages, animation notifiers to define startup frames, no hit, active frames, hitbox on, recovery frames can or can't cancel, right? So this is going to talk about our animation canceling. You know, when that's viable, when it can be done, when it cannot be. True hitboxes, not RPG targets. See, this is what we want in our MMO. We want real hitboxes. We don't want just, you know, RPG bullshit, wow, tab target crap. Terra style hits usually feel like a weapon arc or a capsule sweep in front of you, not a target plus damage. And now it's going to talk a little bit how, you know, how do you do that in UE5? Do multi-sphere trace capsule sweep during active frames, which I have no idea what that is, but it's telling you this is the things you need to look at. Or attach a collision shape to the weapon and enable it only during active frames, which I think is probably what most games do. And like you have a sword, and a sword has like a collision shape around the sword, you know? So let's see. So you have a sword, right? And the sword's going to have a bounding box on it like this. And then you have an enemy monster, right? And the enemy monster is going to have like a hitbox around its chest area, and it may have hitboxes attached to its legs. Think of these little bounding boxes. And when you swing the sword through the enemy, where does the edge of this bounding box collide with one of these bounding boxes? If it collides with this box here, then it's going to be a hit on his right arm. If it collides with this here, it's going to be a hit on his right leg. If it collides here, it's going to be a hit on the chest. And that's how you can kind of determine some sort of hitbox locations. Maybe if it collides here, then it's going to be on his head, and maybe you're going to calculate more damage because it was a strike to the head. And, you know, some of those things maybe you can talk about. And then dodge with iframes plus stamina. Dodge needs to be fast, readable, reliable. So we need to implement stamina cost, invulnerability window, 0.12 to 0.25 seconds depending on field. Optional dodge cancel of some attacks. We definitely want that. And then the hit feedback. This is also important. So it really did a great job of talking about kind of the kind of some of the key tenets of Terra's combat system. You know, animations matter. True hitboxes, big deal in Terra. Dodge with iframes. And actually, let's see if we can find the original video. Frog style.
Sometimes, the most difficult thing for a healer to do is to heal herself. The journey that began at the Island of Dawn will decide my fate and the fate of our world. Cities are under attack. But amidst the destruction, we have united our power. I swear to you now, when your blood is shed in battle, I will heal you. When you hold your ground against the onslaught, I will restore you.
Wow, I actually had never seen this. I'd never seen this trailer. That's great. I've never seen that one before. Just advertising the healer class. But there's actually a video out there that I was looking for. That's like the original.
With Smackdown.
Yeah, this is like one of the original videos that, because when Terra came out, the big like focus was the combat system. They knew, like when they made Terra, they knew they had hit the combat system out of the park. They knew it was something special. And when they took it to game conferences and, you know, Gamescom, E3, whatever, people took notice. People went up to and played the demo, and they were pretty much universally blown away by the combat system.
Welcome to Terra, the first MMO with true action combat.
And this is how they advertised their game. I mean, this was a huge selling point of Terra, was this right here, true action combat. And it was. It is true action combat.
In Terra, if you don't bring your A game, be prepared to get smacked down. Unlike any other MMO, Terra's action combat relies on your skill as a player, not luck. Aiming your attacks are critical. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna die. Enemy attacks aren't locked on, which means dodging gets you out of the way so you don't get hit. Real-world collisions mean that anything that gets in your way is gonna take a beating, and is going to give you a beating
I mean, look at those stagger
if
animations.
you aren't actively evading or blocking. Traps?
Oh, there's tons. Chris, there are tons of private servers for Terra. Unfortunately, there are no private servers from vanilla Terra, from like the first launch of the game. And the oldest one I could find, the earliest version of the Terra that I could find was the Comunidad server. And I don't know if it's still up, but even if you play on that server, there'll be nobody on it. I mean, it has like no player base. I think there's the Nova Versa one. This one, I don't think I've played. I think I played Nova before. I think the Nova one's decent if it's still up. Like this one here is a decent one if it's still running. And the Comunidad one is, I don't know if it's still up anymore, but it was an older version of the game, but yeah, but this one's decent. But there's a ton. If you just do a search for private Terra servers, you will find a lot of them. But you will not be able to find, unfortunately, you will not be able to find one that was from the original launch of Terra, which was 2011. Terra went through these. What was so cool about Terra when it first came out is it was really difficult. Like they were the big ass monsters that hit really hard. They did tons of damage. Even regular monsters could do a lot of damage. But the game got nerfed very quickly. As early as 3 months after launch, they were nerfing content. And it's because of the Care Bears, man. There were so many people that were crying, "Oh, it's too difficult. These monsters are too hard." And it's just like they weren't hard. It's just because all it is learning the monster's moves. I mean, you're gonna die when you fight these BAMs. You're gonna get killed. But if you just play, get killed by them 10, 20, 30 times, however many times it takes, and then you figure out their moves, and then you figure out how to avoid their moves, and then you figure out, and that's just part of the game. And you just got to skill up and get good. But people started nerfing the game, and within just like a year after launch, it was a completely different game. I think people still loved it and played it, but it wasn't the same game it was in all the closed. Because I played like 3 closed betas, and I played the open beta. I think I played 3 closed beta tests and open beta, and they were all absolutely amazing. I mean, just fantastic. Yeah, if they launch, and I've said this many, many, many times on my stream, if the people who made Terra could launch Terra right now, today, in the state it was on the original day one of its launch, it would be a massive hit. Massive hit. I'm not talking little hit. I'm talking massive success. Massive. Because it was fun. It had challenging content. It had a very in-depth crafting system, which I think was pretty good. It would be a big hit. And it's just sad that it doesn't. It's sad that no one's been able to get the code. The code. But anyways, looking at this,
Obstacles and even the environment will stop at nothing to destroy you. Enemies can dodge, block, and evade your attacks just as easily as you can, which means you have to time your attacks to be the most effective. As a healer, you have to be part of the...
here, let's see if we can, we might be able to set one up. See, what is the best Terra private server currently running that represents the oldest version of the MMORPG Terra? Let's see if it can actually give us some information. Yeah, see, you could even say ChatGPT is 100% correct here. To play the oldest classic-style version of Terra, closest to early 2012-2014 gameplay, before many retail changes, there are few private servers that people currently recommend. The reality is that true launch-era Terra servers are rare, because most surviving projects run later patches like 92 to 100. Below are the main private servers still active and commonly recommended. But none of these are the olds, you know. Like Terra Scarscape's been around a long time. Best overall, stable. Yeah, I've actually played on this server before. Pros, largest player base, stable, well maintained, good PvE scene. Cons, not truly launch era Terra. It's not. Starts characters high level. Yeah. Best if you want active population. And Terra Asura, closest thing to classic feeling server, designed for players who want the original non-target. Focuses more on old school progression and gameplay pacing. So this is the one we want. Is Terra Asura. And then this one I've heard of. This one I've never heard of. Modern recreation of Terra's earlier, based on patch 100.02, but designed to recreate earlier progression stages. Removes some late game mechanics, card system, and focus on earlier tiers. Attempts to recreate older gameplay loop, new content added by devs. Still technically a late patch. Yeah, see, there is no... Yeah, see, if you want true old Terra experience, you need patches set 27 to 32, which don't exist right currently. What patch? I never heard of this Arborea Reborn. Yeah, they're based on the same patch generation. Yeah, so all of them are based on the same client, the 100.02, which sucks because it's got layered dungeon systems. It's got some other stuff. It doesn't have the original. The original Warrior, the original Terra Warrior, didn't have a resolve resource. So the original Terra Warrior was meant to be a warrior class, but also a class that could tank because they had a lot of threat generation abilities. But it was considered too difficult by a lot of people in the player base, and so they changed it, and they added an entirely new resource to the warrior that allowed them to use a new skill, which was like a blocking skill, but you had to have your resolve resource to use your block. So it's basically like adding like a stamina bar, and you could block, which is stupid, because really, really good warriors didn't need to block. They actually made the warrior to be an evasion tank. Like, you basically tanked by holding threat and avoiding getting hit. That was the whole concept, and it worked brilliantly, but it took skill, like a lot of skill. And I was actually really good at it, and there were some other players that were really good at it, and it was fantastic. It was the most challenging class to play in the game, and it was fun, So, and then of course, as usual in MMOs, everybody cries. All the unskilled players and all the Care Bears whine and cry. And so then they make changes to nerf the content and make it easier for those players, and then they ruin the experience for the players that enjoy the difficult, challenging content. Because, the more difficult the challenge, the greater the satisfaction when said challenge has been overcome. And that's the one tenet that most game makers just can't seem to adhere to. And the reason they can't is because games that are difficult won't draw a larger audience than games that are a little bit easier. It wasn't like Dark Souls at all. It wasn't like that at all. Dark Souls is way more difficult. It wasn't like that. Not at all like that. It just wasn't super easy. It wasn't like you couldn't just face roll content like you can in a lot of MMOs today. I don't. There's Nova. There's Nova. This one. I can't. What about Nova? Let me ask this one. What about? I don't know if it's familiar with this one. Terra Classic is the only accessible Terra private server. I think the only option. Yeah, this person's on Terra Classic. This is from 8 months ago with 110 ping. It's very active in its Classic, which is the best version if you ask me. So we could try Terra Classic. I think I actually played Terra Classic once. Yeah, this person's claiming that there's a lot of input delay on Terra Classic. To me, Terra with high ping is not enjoyable. So it's not a true classic server. Arborea will likely be more enjoyable as an experience, but less nostalgic. Arborea doesn't run a game that you could even remotely consider to be Terra. Yeah, you'll enjoy your time on such a private server. You'd have to be a fan of trash like that to enjoy that. Yeah, I agree with that. Never played Terra in 2000. Man, I started before you on Korea beta before. I know it ain't pure classic. I would love. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many people like me who want the original Terra, but apparently no one's got the code, and that's why we don't see it. That's why we don't see like a Terra private server that's got the original version of the game because nobody's got the code. Anyways, I've got to go to bed. It's 3 in the morning, so this is my window. So but I will set up a Terra server, and we'll continue this topic because this is something I'm really passionate about. Is I definitely do want to create my own MMO one day, and I think obviously with AI, it used to be a pie. It used to be like a dream, that a very almost an impossible task, but it's not an impossible task anymore. With AI, it's going to become easier and easier, and that's why I think we're going to see really really good MMOs start coming out in the next 5 years because we're going to see people that are going to be able to create them with small teams just because they're going to use AI. And whether or not it's gonna happen, man. Yeah, but I do have to go to bed because my wife takes her meds at 3. So if I go into bed at 3, I'm not really waking her up because she has to get up anyway to take her meds, so she doesn't yell at me. so I will catch you guys later. But we'll continue the discussion because I definitely want to look at different game engines, and I want to look at and I want to set up Claude Code so I can use that, and then we'll look at what versions because we're going to need a working version of Terra. Just so we can have a frame of reference that we can look at, because that's going to help us with our development. And then we'll also talk about other games that we may want to model our MMO after. It doesn't have to be Terra's combat system exactly, but I just think that Terra's combat system is a really good combat system. If I had to think of another combat system, for an MMO that would be really good, I would say Elion might even be superior to Terra. But Elion was also made by the same company that made Terra, so it's no brainer that it's so good, right? So I mean, Elion had a great combat system as well, but it was made by Anmasi, I believe. So and so Novaverse is actually one of the closest private servers to old school Terra compared. The Novaverse, see, it runs patch 29 to 31, which is 2015. Classic progression. Server launched in 2024. Project itself says the game is based on patches, which corresponds to that fate of a rune. Roadmap even starts in server. So, yeah, see, that means that Novaverse is much older than Asura. So, that's why I liked this one because it was a much older, version. So, we'll go ahead and download this. And the client is the ready-made game unpacked game client. Download and play right away. Yeah, let's just download this. See if we can do like a Google Drive. Sorry. Yeah, see, I don't know if this server is even up anymore. Let me go to the Discord and just see if this one's... I gotta hurry. Yeah, it looks like I still had... Yeah, I still was a member of this one. Let's go to Nova, let's go to Global, and let's see when the most recent post was. And you can see there's posts from yesterday, so... this server is still running. And we can see there are people still here. Here's the seller, partner, online. So there's quite a few people in this Discord, and it looks like there's people still talking. Here's screenshots of the game that we're taken. This one was taken just a few months ago. So I'm going to guess that it's probably not a lot of people on the server, but as long as the server's running, that's all we care about, because we're not going to be playing with other people. We just need an active server. Okay, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. I got to go.